There's an enormous difference between being liked and being respected. Most people seek everyone's love and end up being manipulated by anyone. But there's a different path, one that Machiavelli taught the princes of the Renaissance, the power that comes from strategic coldness. It's not about becoming insensitive or cruel, but about developing an emotional armor so solid that no one can use your feelings against you. Because whoever controls their reactions controls their destiny, and whoever controls their inner world controls any external situation they face. Machiavelli didn't write for romantic dreamers who believed the world runs on good intentions and constant smiles. He wrote for realists who understood that life is an emotional battlefield, where the weak are devoured by the calculating, where the naive are manipulated by the cunning, where those who react without thinking are controlled by those who know exactly which buttons to press to get the desired response. In that real world, ruthless but honest, coldness isn't a character flaw. It's a survival tool. The first lesson you must internalize is this. Most people react on impulse. You must learn to respond by choice. When someone verbally attacks you, provokes you, or insults you, they're expecting a specific reaction. They want to see you explode, lose your composure, say something you'll regret later. Because the exact moment you lose control, you hand them all the power in the situation. But when you breathe deeply, maintain your calm, and consciously choose how to respond, you immediately regain control of the emotional chessboard. Strategic silence is more devastating than any brilliant response you could give, because when you choose not to speak, when you decide not to explain yourself, when you opt not to justify your actions to those who don't deserve it, you create something that deeply disturbs manipulators: uncertainty. And in that uncertainty, you hold all the power. Machiavelli said the prince must appear, not reveal. He must project what's convenient to show, but never completely expose his thoughts, his weaknesses, his deepest fears. I'm learning that not everyone deserves access to my inner world. There are people who only know how to destroy what they touch, who don't have the emotional maturity to handle others' vulnerability, who confuse openness with weakness and honesty with an invitation to manipulation. That's why now I'm selective with my words, careful with my confidences, strategic with my silences. Not because I've become cold out of cruelty, but because I learned that emotional protection is an act of self-love. Every time you justify your decisions to someone who has no real authority over your life, you're unnecessarily ceding power. Every time you explain your reasons to someone who's already decided not to understand you, you're wasting emotional energy you could use to build something valuable. Every time you try to convince someone of your worth, you're indirectly accepting that this person has the right to judge you, and that, slowly but constantly, erodes your personal authority until you become someone who lives seeking external approval instead of cultivating genuine respect. Well-applied coldness isn't absence of heart. It's intelligent protection of the heart. It's understanding that we live in a world where there are people who will interpret your kindness as weakness, your generosity as naivety, your emotional openness as an opportunity to manipulate you. When you develop that emotional armor, when you learn to be warm with those who've earned it and cold with those who've sought it, you're simply adapting to reality as it is, not as we'd like it to be. Machiavelli observed that in Italian courts, the courtiers who survived decades of political intrigue weren't necessarily the most intelligent or the most charismatic. They were those who best knew when to show emotions and when to hide them, when to be vulnerable and when to be impenetrable, when to reveal information and when to maintain strategic silence. They had learned that in a competitive and often hostile environment, showing all your emotional cards is equivalent to giving the enemy a detailed map of your weak points. It's not about becoming a machine without feelings. It's about becoming someone who feels deeply but acts strategically. You feel anger, but don't react from anger. You experience frustration, but don't make decisions from frustration. You can feel pain, but don't allow that pain to cloud your judgment or make you vulnerable to those who might take advantage of your emotional state. It's the difference between being emotionally intelligent and being emotionally impulsive. Thank you for teaching me that my emotional energy is a limited and valuable resource. When you understand this deeply, you automatically become more selective about the people you allow to affect you, more careful about the situations you decide to become emotionally involved in, more strategic about the moments you choose to be vulnerable. It's not selfishness. It's intelligent emotional survival in a world that constantly tries to drain your vital energy. True Machiavellian coldness isn't total indifference toward everything and everyone. It's the ability to remain emotionally stable in chaotic situations, to maintain mental clarity when others lose their heads, to make rational decisions even when emotions are running high. It's like being the eye of the hurricane. Everything can be spinning violently around you, but you remain in the center, calm, observing, calculating your next move with surgical precision. There are moments in life when people will deliberately test you to see if they can break you, to verify if you're really as strong as you appear, to discover if your coldness is genuine or just a facade that crumbles under pressure. Those are the most important moments because that's where it's defined who you really are. If you maintain your composure, if you don't react as they expect, if you remain true to your new code of emotional conduct, you will have passed a test that many fail. Genuine respect isn't begged for or negotiated. It's earned through the consistency of your actions, the firmness of your boundaries, the reliability of your character. When people know they can't easily manipulate you, that they won't get dramatic reactions from you, that they can't use your emotions as leverage to get what they want, they automatically begin to treat you differently. They speak to you more carefully, consider your opinions more seriously, respect your decisions, even if they don't completely understand them. Machiavelli understood that fear can generate temporary obedience, but only respect generates lasting loyalty. And respect is built by demonstrating that you have control over yourself before trying to influence others. When people see that they can't easily destabilize you, that you maintain your criteria even under pressure, that you don't change your mind on a whim or due to social pressure, they develop something toward you that goes beyond casual sympathy. They develop genuine respect. Don't confuse being cold with being cruel or ruthless. Strategic coldness includes knowing when to be compassionate, when to offer help, when to show calculated vulnerability, but always from a position of inner strength. Never from desperation, never from the need for approval. It's like being a doctor who can feel empathy for his patient's pain, but doesn't allow that empathy to interfere with his ability to make objective and necessary medical decisions. I'm building an emotional fortress that doesn't isolate me from the world, but allows me to interact with it from a position of strength. I no longer seek to be understood by everyone, because I understand that universal comprehension is a fantasy. I no longer need everyone to like me, because I know that authentic respect is more valuable than superficial sympathy. I no longer explain my decisions to those who have no moral authority to question them, because my inner peace is worth more than their external approval. In the end, the coldness that Machiavelli admired wasn't that of a dead heart, but that of a protected heart. It wasn't the total absence of emotions, but complete dominion over them. It wasn't the inability to love, but the wisdom of knowing whom, when, and how to love without losing yourself in the process. The complete strategies of this inner mastery are in the pinned comment for those who are ready to apply them. When you reach that level of emotional maturity, when you develop that strategic coldness, you not only protect yourself, but you also become someone worthy of the respect you always sought. I'm ready to be respected, without needing to be understood by everyone. I'm prepared to be strong without losing the ability to be human. I'm determined to be cold when necessary and warm when appropriate, always from my center, always from my power, always from the wisdom that comes from understanding that the world respects authentic strength, not weakness disguised as goodness. If this vision awakened something in you, write in the comments, "I'm in control. Thank you for the clarity. I'm awake, I'm respected."